Good morning. All right, so I am here trying to brainstorm an idea and just to go through it. Let's do it that way. All right, so I have a hobby of banjos and bluegrass music. Um, so along those lines, if you think about it, you've got a mom and pop that have been making banjos their whole lives from hand. How do you derive an automation solution to help them produce um, a banjo that is more marketable to the everyday person? Because say that their baseline banjo is, $7,000 to $10,000, so it's obviously a specialized um, instrument and a lot of time and effort going into it. But that makes it hard for them to compete with, say, the Deerings or the Fenders or any of the ones that are doing more mass production. So if you think about it, they may want to keep their specialized line and their customs, but also have a revenue stream that allows them to use their brand name and create, a banjo that is an entry market banjo that would have the same quality, just perhaps less customization than their higher end ones. So, with that in mind, if we look at what it takes to make a banjo and how we can apply automation as far as cobots or CNC, and the first part of that is to figure out what your inputs are going to be. And peg head, tuners, neck, fingerboard, heel, bridge, body, strings. These are all things that are the pieces that make up a banjo. And I got to thinking that I'm missing some, so luckily Mr. Google put me to a page, a Deering drawing, which I'll show in a minute. Because if we think about it, the inputs would be the pieces of the banjo, outputs would be a banjo, and to me, you could produce one in the $300 to $500 range. Of course, this would require some market research to see if it's feasible and looking at your ROIs, your return on investment, to see for the investment in the machinery if there's an interest enough for the amount of banjos being purchased. Because it's a very tight market. This is not it's probably a tighter market than the electric cars. Anyway, with that in mind, the breakdown for banjo parts is actually a little bit more intensive. So this list, which is more of a drawing, with all the more of the details courtesy of Deering, show that we actually would have like 40 pieces that would make up the parts of a banjo. And as you can see, just from brainstorming here, I've gone from 8 to 40. So those of us that have been in manufacturing, this is where the supply chain would come in, and you'd make a decision. All right, what do I purchase? What do I make? And initially, my thought is all the metal parts you would purchase, and all the smaller pieces that you may have trouble making or that require specialized machinery, like the tone ring and the material for the head, and then the tension hoop. These would take some specialized machinery and then specialized material. So my thought would be, the armrest and the neck and the head can be CNC'd. the armrest is usually metal though, so I was like, all right, well, just buy equipment that would do the wood, which would leave us to the neck and the head, and then the wood rim, um, and then some of the flange, and the smaller pieces that go on the neck and the head. Um, and this is what I'm trying to lay out here. However, with that in mind, we could just stick with the neck and the head, and then buy these pieces or make these pieces to go with the neck and the head, depending on what how fancy you're gonna make your thumb stop, etc. The tailpiece and the armrest are metal and they're flat. So to me, that's something that you can CNC and specialize as far as making your own graphic on it per se, or some detailing. But I don't know enough right now to say that it would be worthwhile, because it may be better to have somebody make them out of house and deliver it. So those would be the pros and cons, and the cost balance that has to be discussed, analyzed, etc. So for simplicity, I just said, well, why don't we just CNC the wood parts? Why? Because you can make the neck what you want it to be for your for your brand, as far as making it more customizable. And then also because you would purchase for the neck and then the base and the wood flange and the wood rim. These things would go together. And of course, this is another step that goes outside of just the assembly, because that's it's not varnishing. That's the next part where they put the color on there, and I forget the name of it at the moment, because it's not this part of the presentation. That would be my next investigation. So for right now, it'd be that, and then I came up with something like this for assembly, as far as if you have a CNC machine and a cobot load and unload, maybe you could do this on one cobot and have them move across, so he's unloading and then assembling based on what the timing is over here, and have a person doing the assemble of the head, the base piece of the banjo. So this is just, how do you call it, brainstorming. So I'm trying to get a discussion going, so that what do you say, like get input from other people in the automation industry, and just building something that is more fun to me than the widgets that I typically am involved in. Anyway, if you got any ideas, let me know. I'm kind of doing this investigation on my own, and just coming up with ideas and trying to think of applications for cobots that and for CNC, because what I have in mind is a producer that doesn't have any automation at this time, but could use automation to market to this price point, as opposed to a higher end market, but also keep their higher end price point, mainly for sustainability. Anyway, it's just a little side fun project. So if you got any ideas, let me know. Thanks.